right, we are back with more Speed Souls Charity Marathon 2022. What's up, everybody? How about that amazing 100% run of Stray? I really love that game, and my cat really loves that game too.
Hmm.
It's like the only game that she actually watches me play. I think Elden Ring stresses her out too much. I have one more donation from that run that I want to read, and it is a $20 donation from Maral, who says, "Love you all." And I agree. I love you all too. Thanks so much to everybody for supporting that run and for donating. And now, without further ado, I'm very pleased to introduce Nerd Squared, who's going to run Pokemon Shining Pearl, any percent, no out of bounds. How's it going, Nerd?
That's going great. So, I'm Nerd. I run a bunch of different games because I'm a big variety speedrunner. But tonight in particular, I'll be playing some Pokemon for y'all. Uh, as the host just mentioned, I'll be doing No Out of Bounds. I'll explain what that's about once we get started because it's a little particular with this game. A couple things to explain before I really get into this. First of all, I'm planning on playing on the Shining Pearl version. It doesn't matter which version you play on for this because there's no difference between the two, so it's just the version I happen to own, so I'll be playing on that. As you can see here with the version number as well, I'll be playing on the 1.1.1 version. That is because there's a trick I'll be doing that'll allow me to do all the other glitches I'll be doing here. Which are only possible on the 1.1.0 or 1.1.1 version, like the one I have here. Which makes things a little tricky because you can't very easily downpatch the game unless you have a friend that happens to have this patch of the game, but it's doable otherwise. But yeah, that's what goes into it there. I'll be playing on Shining Pearl, and I'm playing on 1.1.1. I also do want to note before I get into this, this game, and this run in particular, is very action-packed, so it might be a little hard to follow, and it might be a little hard for me to commentate on my end, but I'll try my best. So with that, we can just go ahead and get started. Time for this run starts when I click yes here, when I select the language, which in this case will be English, because that's just the standard version for running the game. So yep, time starts when I press yes here. So we'll go in 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, welcome to the chaos that is Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl runs. So I think before, the first thing I can explain is what the category is. So, no out of bounds. With any percent, there's a lot of glitches we use to skip a lot of story triggers in the game. And I have to get the name in here real quick. Alright, cool. So with any percent, we do a lot of glitches, and in doing so, we end up skipping a pretty big portion of the game, to the extent where we skip straight to the Pokemon League, which is basically the end game area, from the very beginning of the game in the second city. But with no out of bounds, it disallows the use of some of those glitches, because the big trick that we use to get to the end of the game involves some out of bounds type tricks, where we just walk in this big black void, but this category disallows that. So it shows off a lot more of the game than what a standard 80% run would show, and you also get to see a wider variety of glitches. In fact, the big first half of this run is basically one big shopping list to get all the items that we need to do those glitches. And there's a lot of crazy stuff in this run. I think you guys are going to enjoy watching it. So this intro is pretty straightforward. Not a whole lot to really mention here, because it's just straightforward stuff until we get our starter. One thing I can mention is one of these settings that I did not set in that little settings menu at the start. So normally when I do runs, I would turn the music volume all the way down to 0. Because by doing that, you skip jingles that would normally play when you, say, get a level up, get an item, or get a badge from a gym leader. And for this category in particular, no out of bounds, it saves around a minute, which is pretty decent time save. But here I've decided to keep it on, just because while it would be funny with no sound effects, or no music and like the occasional sound effect here and there, it wouldn't be very entertaining in the long run. So for the sake of your enjoyment, for those watching at home, I've decided to keep the music on. It also is as I learned the other day when I was practicing for this run, it also has some having the music on for some of the glitches in this category has some pretty funny side effects, which I'll talk about when they happen. So we have some cutscenes at the lake here. That's the professor, Rowan, and there's also the companion character, who in this case is Lucas because we picked the female trainer. Picking the gender of the trainer doesn't matter. I just picked the female trainer because I like the look of the model. Pretty much what it comes down to. It just comes down to preference. Alright, so we're going to pick our starter here. For this category, I'm going to pick Piplup. In a full, like, true 90% run, we would pick Turtwig, and in a glitchless run, we would pick Chimchar. But here I'm picking Piplup because as part of this run, at least in the early game, I'll be doing a few fights. And for one fight in particular, which is the first gym leader, the other two starters, Chimchar, who is a fire type, and Turtwig, who is a grass type, they have a hard time dealing with the first gym because it's rock type. But Piplup, however, is water type and gets a pretty good elemental move early on. He learns Water Gun at level 6. So I'll be doing some leveling early on with Piplup to get that move as quick as I can so I can deal with the first gym leader. Because the first gym leader in this category hits like a truck, because we're going to go into the fight at a pretty low level. So I'm going to do the first instance of a trick called menu storage here. I'll explain it after I do it because it's a little complicated to explain while I'm doing it. But basically I'm going to use a quirk of this game on this patch in 1.1.0 that basically allows me to stack multiple menus on top of each other. Alright, so I just did 2 quick taps of the confirm button while in the menu there, and now I have a menu up while I'm walking around. That's menu storage. Essentially what happens is I do 2 quick taps of the confirm button while on the Pokemon summary there. That tricks the game into duplicating the menu that I was just on, effectively. So, and the reason that's so game-breaking is because when you go out of a menu, the game thinks, hey, you're back in a gameplay state. Oh. That might be a problem, because I just crashed in the intro. And the annoying thing with that, too, in this case, is with the settings I set at the beginning, I turned off autosaves. So we have to start from the beginning. I was expecting a crash to happen somewhere, because this is one of those games that is very, 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 very crash prone, but I was not expecting it to be right there. But yeah, since I crashed there on accident, I can go ahead and explain what just happened with menu storage. So, what I did was I did 2 quick taps of the confirm button right after another, and that tricked the game into duplicating the menu. And when you back out of a menu, the game thinks, hey, you're back in a gameplay state, let's give you control again. But I had a menu up while that was happening, and when you have a menu up while you're, say, in the middle of a cutscene, or in the middle of a dialogue, or even in the middle of an animation, it breaks you out of any of those 3 things. And in some cases lets you store it for later, so there's going to be some pretty crazy glitches throughout this entire run utilizing that fact. So yeah, we do have to go through the intro again, which is kind of unfortunate, but shouldn't be too much of a hit, I think, even though that will definitely bring me closer to estimate. Some of the menu tricks in this game are pretty scary, but I have pretty consistent workarounds for them, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. So since we do have to go through the intro again, and there's a little bit of downtime because we're going through stuff that we already saw, do you have anything you want to read out?
I can read some stuff. I can always read some stuff.
All right.
I do have one $10 donation from the Giga Goose, who says, happy to donate to a great cause and watch amazing speedruns. Thank you so much for that donation. I, too, am happy to donate to a great cause and watch amazing speedruns. Very generous. And with that, just to kind of benchmark, we are now over 2/3 of the way to raising $10,000 for Save the Children over the course of SCM 2022.
All right.
We are on pace with that, but we got to keep it going. Let's keep the pace up.
Yeah. Let's get to that 10K.
I believe in us. We can do it.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing I meant to mention in intermission and forgot that somebody in chat pointed out is, aside from donations, you can also support the charity by visiting our merch store. We have some very cool shirts, mugs, stickers, hats, lots of swag, and all proceeds from that, just as with donations, go directly to support Save the Children. So let me throw that link in chat, and if anybody feels like rocking some Speed Souls merch, go visit that store and yeah, support the charity, support speedruns, and support Nerd's Nintendo Switch not crashing again.
Yeah, don't worry, my Switch is fine. It won't burst into flames. I promise. So I'm just gonna go through the intro fight again. Gonna pick Piplup. The stats on the Piplup don't matter too much. It matters a little bit, I guess, if you're going for like a tippy top of the leaderboard type of time. Because there is one fight later where it's basically a wild encounter that we're gonna fight for some extra experience. And you have to use the only attacking move you have at that point is Pound, which does normal attack type damage, not like special attack or anything like that. So it does matter a little bit in that sense because you need good attack to defeat that wild encounter quickly, but it doesn't matter too much in the long run. Alright, so I'm gonna do, after this cutscene, I'm gonna do the menu stack again. I'm gonna make sure to save this time just in case I crash. What I was trying to do, what happened with the crash, by the way, is I was trying to get into, set up a menu stack in the middle of the cutscene. But I accidentally entered a menu when the dialogue from my mom was printing on the screen. And if you go into a menu while dialogue is printing, or a line of dialogue is printing from an NPC, the game just crashes. It just can't handle drawing both of those elements on the screen at once. So it just crashes. So I'll focus this time to make sure I get it. And then the rest of the run should be relatively smooth sailing from here. But basically, it's this one long setup for an animation cancel that I'll be using this menu stack for. Alright, made sure to enter the menu this time, so we're safe. Alright, so I'm going to back out of this menu one time, once this dialogue from my mom is done. I also get the running shoes there, which is helpful for going fast. I'm gonna back out of this menu as I go to the door, through the door to her house. Alright, we're out of there, finally. 3 minutes longer than it should have taken, or 4 minutes longer than it should have taken, I guess, but we're out of there. Alright, so now we've broken out of that cutscene, or animation rather, with the door. The entire world is frozen. And because the world is frozen, we don't get encounters, and all these trainers can't see us. So we'll just completely bypass them and practically flex on them, and go straight into the first city without having to do any tutorial stuff. Or I guess technically a second city, but same difference. And I saved in front of that mart there because I need to go there to do some shopping. And I also saved and reloaded there because the only way to get out of that frozen state, at least at this point, is to save and reload the game. There are some other ways to get out of that frozen state, which we'll come across in a second. Basically, if you print any sort of text, it'll get you out of that frozen state from that trick I just did. And some other related tricks I'll be doing later. But starting from here, we'll have a lot more versatility with dealing with that.
Somebody in chat says it's like a max repel for trainers. I like that.
Yeah. The world is your oyster when you can duplicate menus in this game, basically. Alright, so I bought a bunch of potions there from that shop. This just makes it so I can survive the first fight a little easier, or the first gym leader rather, a little easier, just as a bit of safety. I'm gonna get the old rod here, which is an item I'll be using for some more menu storage setups. Because when you use the old rod, when you're not next to water, the game says, hey, you can't use that here. And we can use that text to trigger the frozen state. I have to bind it first to this little plus menu for it to work though, so I'm just going to do that real quick. Gonna bind it to very specific directions on that plus menu there, just to set them up for later. So I'm going to stack a few menus here. This just allows me to, similarly to what I just did with that glitch at the beginning, disable encounters and avoid trainers. Except I did a goof and accidentally hit the wrong direction on my stick. So I'll have to do that again. Oops, triggered out a little early. There we go, did it correctly that time. So by using that key item there, I've frozen the world. And now I can go through this route without getting any encounters. I'm going to re-enable encounters here though by using that other key item, because I want to get an encounter here. Since we're so low level going into the first gym leader, I need another extra level to get that elemental move I was talking about before. And I'm going to kill the first thing I see. In this case I got a Scarly, which is okay, but Scarly has a really annoying move called Growl, which lowers your attack. In fact, you just used it there. Since we're already pretty low level at this point, we already do very little damage as is, so him using Growl, or her using Growl there, just adds salt to the wound, and makes this fight take longer, because we take more turns to kill her. And I'm killing this Pokemon here. You technically could also catch the Pokemon that you encounter here, but it's a little faster to kill them, because if you catch them, that's extra menuing you have to do later, which is a bit slower. Sadly, I don't think there's any cows in this game. I think there's a cow Pokemon, but I'm thinking of Gen 6. And this is based off the Gen 4 games on the DS, so. Alright, so I'm gonna do another menu stack here.
There's a Gen 3 cow, isn't there? Miltank or something?
Oh yeah, that's true. Sadly, we don't encounter Miltank in this game. So I'm gonna do a menu stack here. This just allows me to avoid encounters here, and it also lets me do a dialogue skip when I get to the next town. So I'm going to do another key item there when I get to the end of the cave, because if I don't do that, then I can't actually exit the cave, which would obviously be a bit of a holdup. So the gym I need to enter is right there, but I'm going to take a small detour here to go down to the mines, because I'm going to get this item here in the entrance. Give me some defensive boost, which will help for the next fight coming up. And you're normally supposed to talk to the gym leader, whose name is Roark, in order to get into the gym itself. But that's slow, so instead I'm going to do a menu stack here. Do a storage there. Then bring up a key item. Then I'm going to go to this kid on the left here and break out of his dialogue by just breaking out of this menu. I'm going to advance the dialogue so that starts this animation where he pulls me along. And I'm going to break out of it with the old rod and then go into the gym. And you can see there, he kind of breaks when you do that. He just walks to the right there with a T-pose. It's pretty funny. And the other side effect about skipping out of that conversation is that the music is frozen, so get used to this song, because you're going to be hearing it for a bit until we start this fight. That's a funny side effect of a lot of glitches in this category. The music and stuff that we end up skipping just ends up stuck in the game, so you end up hearing for like several minutes at a time. It's going to be pretty funny, because some of the final fight music we'll be hearing later, because of these glitches I'll be doing, are stuck in the game for several minutes at a time, so we'll just be doing like casual things like just walking up an elevator, and you'll hear really ominous fight music. So So this is the first gym leader. His name is Roark, and as I said, he has a lot of rock types who also hit like a truck. So we're going to go ahead and use that X defense. And here I'm doing a bit of a menuing optimization known as double inputting. So on the Switch Pro, and really any controller you can use on the Switch, the D-pad and both analog sticks all act as directional inputs in the menu. So if you want to go to another point in the menu really quickly, you can alternate between any of those three, and you can just do movements of the cursor in the menu really fast. It really only comes up in this fight because, like, optimized cursor movement in the menu isn't really the focus of this category, but it still helps a little bit to save time. So Water Gun is the name of the game with this fight. We're just going to spam it to quickly dispatch these Pokemon. Geodude, the first two Pokemon here, Geodude and Onix, aren't really that big of a problem because they're pretty much pushovers. They can do a little bit of damage, but it's not too bad. The real problem here is this Carnidos coming up, which is the next Pokemon. And the annoying thing about Carnidos is that he really likes to use a move called Headbutt. And the bad thing about Headbutt is that it has a decently high chance of confusing or flinching you, which means you can't use an attack when... Oh! Okay, so he just did a really troll thing there. He actually critical hit me. And because we're so low level, any critical hits that he manages to land on me just outright kills me. Even after a X defense, so that's unfortunate, but that's the nature of the beast with this category. There's a lot of run killers early on, but once you get past Roark, it's okay. So I'll just do a quick reload there and get back into the fight. And the only thing about having to reload in this game is that even if you play on a digital version, and even if you install that into like the internal storage on the system, which makes it load even faster, it still loads pretty slow when you like restart the game from the home menu. I guess they aren't old gen crits yet. It's still kind of ridiculous though. Because like the Carnidos is so scary because like as you saw there, he can just like outright kill you at any moment, and you have almost no control over it. But yeah, as I was saying, that Carnidos really likes to use Headbutt and has a chance to flinch you, which means he can't use an attack for that turn once he hits you. So you can get in a heal loop a lot of times of, oh, he used Headbutt and flinched you, so you can't attack, so you have to heal again. Then he flinched you again, so you have to heal again. And you can just get stuck in a heal loop like that and hardly be able to get an attack in. So you can waste quite a lot of time on this fight because of that. Alright, a little low there, so I'm going to go ahead and heal. Alright, cool. So I've healed up, so I'll continue spamming Water Gun until they get rid of the Onix. Onix can do a decent bit of damage, but Rock Throw doesn't do too much. We can usually take a hit. And even if he crits, I don't think it outright kills like the Carnidos does. Alright, so hopefully Carnidos is a good boy and cooperates this time and doesn't outright crit me. Alright. So he's doing 13 damage with each headbutt here, just about, so that's good. Where it starts getting really scary is if he does as high as 16 with Headbutt, which he can do. But this damage is good. He's doing like 12 to 13, so that's manageable. Unless he flinches here. Okay. So that was okay. I had a bit of a death the first time, but we got him the second time around. But yeah, that's just about the last normal fight you'll ever see in this run. We are going to do fights from here. Minus one intended one we'll be doing in a second, but from here it's going to be very, 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 very glitch heavy. Hopefully it won't crash like we did in the intro, but yeah, there's going to be a lot of really crazy stuff in here. And the reason I actually fought Roark is mainly just to progress the story. because like I was saying at the beginning, there's like a big laundry list of things we have to there's like a big laundry list of things we have to get for some of these glitches to line up, at least in the first half. And the big thing we want is stickers. And we can't get that unless we progress the story to the 3rd town. So we're gonna have to hit some story triggers up to that point. So I'm gonna do a menu stack here, but first I'm gonna heal for an upcoming fight. This menu stack will let me avoid encounters and trainers, like always. Go. So I'll use a key item there to unfreeze the world. And here I'm going to do a really complex glitch because there's a lot of layers of menus I have to set up here for this one to work. I'm going to line myself up here just to make sure I don't mess it up. And I'm going to save just in case I accidentally soft lock. Alright. So I'll start with the storage. Bring up a key item. Up a menu and do 2 layers of storage instead of just 1. I'm going to back all the way out until I can see the overworld. Do another storage and then bring up another key item. I think I got it. Yeah, there we go. So by doing that complex series of menus, I've now activated a glitch called Legitate. By interrupting that animation where I hopped over the ledge by just using a key item, I have made myself levitate in the air. Which is important because there's a trick I want to do to go below a route, not out of bounds, but below the route, in order to avoid encounters and trainers. Because we normally have to go and fight the 2nd gym, and we'd have to go through a whole bunch of story stuff before then, but we're going to be able to avoid that pretty soon with another trick, or with another menu stack. This fight is pretty straightforward. We just want to spam water gun on this Zubat on the right. Usually, at the beginning of that fight, which the Chimchar just did, he likes to use Ember on that wormhole straight away, turn 1, which kills it straight away, which is pretty nice. And we'll just put the Zubat in the trash, get rid of him, and the wormhole. This, by the way, is also the evil team of the game, Team Galactic. We're not going to see much of them, but we at least get to see their intro here. Alright. Yeah, it is kind of like the Pegasus glitch in a way. Piplup's definitely trying his best to help out. Ogres have layers. They do indeed, and so do the menus in this. Alright. I'm going to do another menu stack here, just to avoid some encounters and trainers like I did in the cave. You normally would not do this menu stack in runs because it's a little slower, and you would just YOLO this route instead, but I decided to not do that for a bit of safety. So I'm gonna do the next glitch, which is ball capsules. This is what I got by talking to a kid in the city I was just in, Jubilife. When you use ball capsules, when you're below the ground, you gain height. So I'm gonna use that for a lot of funky movement throughout the rest of the run. Do another storage here just to avoid some encounters in this remaining section of the cave. Quite a long stack of menus, but it is indeed necessary to do this. So I'm gonna wiggle myself beneath the ground by just rubbing up against some rocks. We might be going back to row work. Because I just accidentally softlocked myself again. I was not expecting this run to go like this today, but hey, things happen. I accidentally closed out that. I meant to use that last key item there, because I meant to use that to unfreeze the world, but I accidentally pressed B and backed out of it. So, while we're doing the work fight again, would you like to, is there anything you would like to read?
That classic marathon RNG, you gotta love it, right?
Yeah, in this case, the RNG is myself. Oh, actually, I saved right here. That's fine. So I'll just do the legitate again. Yeah, I'm sorry. I thought the last point I saved was rower, but apparently not.
Just goes to show how handy a safety save can be in a marathon like this.
Yeah, this is why for a lot of these major menu stacks, I'm gonna save even though it seems unnecessary. Because I know I'm gonna have a brain fart and forget something somewhere. As you've already seen twice. Alright, so we'll just go ahead and do this fight again. This is the actual last normal fight before we really start breaking the game. As you saw there, I did a bit of trickery with the ball capsules. When you use the ball capsules when you're underneath, like, say, a stair or a platform, you gain height by just being brought up to the level of that platform. And we can use that at will throughout the run to basically gain or lose height at will. Yeah. I haven't played the originals in a hot minute. Is that actually a thing? Rower 2? Because I know there's the Elite Four Round 2 in Platinum. And there is an Elite Four Round 2 in this as well.
I actually never played this gen when it first came out. I have Brilliant Diamond, but I never played OG Pearl and Diamond.
Yeah, the originals were my favorite game for a while, and then Gen 6 happened. But they're still my favorite to run just because there's so much cool tech you can do with these games. OG and Remake, as you're seeing.
Which other Pokemon games do you speedrun, or have you speedran?
In the past I did a lot of Gen 6, mainly Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire. And I've also done a bit of Generation 5, like, very briefly. With Black and White too. But I mainly stuck to the remakes just because, like, the speed tech is so cool. Like, the other games are fun, don't get me wrong. It's just BDSP is the most fun to me. Alright, so I'll try that menu stack again, hopefully with no shenanigans this time. Alright, so I'll do ball capsules twice to gain some height. Yes, that's the gen with tweaking, yep. Tweaking's a pretty fun trick. Alright, so I'll set up the menu stack again and try not to soft lock this time.
Can I jump in with something really quickly, nerd?
Oh, sure.
Just gonna say that I think my time hosting today has come to a close. Just wanted to say thank you to all the runners, commentators, especially to the event staff and organizers, and most of all to everybody who has generously donated and shown so much love to all these runs and to the great cause of Save the Children. It's been an honor, and I will be hanging out the rest of the weekend in chat. So I will see all of you around, and for now, I'm going to pass it off to the legend, Wolfie. He's going to take over for me.
All right.
So Wolfie, what's up?
No, not much. Just enjoying this Pokemon run. And I'll quickly hand it back to Nerds to keep going with what he's doing.
All right. All right. So I'm doing a menu stack here. I beefed it, but I can quickly redo it. By doing this, it'll let me walk beneath the floor to avoid some trainers. And it'll also make it so I can some really fun stuff once I get to that point. So I'll do a key item there. Menu, and then do 2 layers of storage. I'm blanking out hard with these menu setups. Alright, let's concentrate this time. Don't heck it up. There we go. Did it properly that time, finally. Alright, so I did a key item there that freezes the world so I don't get encounters. And then now I'm walking beneath the floor, and I'm gonna take this all the way over to Eterna City, which is the, I believe, the 4th or 5th town-ish. And I'm skipping past a bunch of triggers here. You normally have to fight a few grunts, or Team Galactic grunts, in that town I was just in, of Floaroma, but obviously we're gonna avoid that. And you'd also have to go into the Eterna Forest to my left there and fight some more trainers, but we're obviously going to avoid that too. And the really tricky thing about this part is, since you can't see where you're going, since the menu is obscuring your vision, you kind of just have to get a feel for where you are in the world. I've gotten pretty decent at it, I feel, but it's still kind of tricky to gauge where you are sometimes. Alright, so we're in the city, so I'm going to use a ball capsule here to gain height. And I'm going to use that key item I have stored right there to unfreeze the world once I'm back above the floor. Now I'm going to go in here to get the Explorer Kit from this guy, literally the Underground Man. This is the next piece to the puzzle for breaking the game, because when you get out of the Underground, there's an animation that plays where you pop up from beneath the ground like a weasel popping out of his hole in Whack-A-Mole or something. And you can break out of that animation of popping up out from beneath the ground by using a key item, which you can use to levitate like I was doing with Legitate earlier. So we'll get right out of there. Just out of curiosity, given my goose at the beginning, what is my time currently at?
Currently you're around about 35 minutes, coming up in 36 minutes.
Okay, well, we're definitely gonna go overestimate with this, but we're just looking to have a fun time.
You promised me you wouldn't!
Listen, things happened at the beginning, we had some shenanigans, but it's okay, we'll still have fun with this. Alright, so I'm gonna set up another menu here. This one isn't too special. This just lets me register the Explorer Kit to the plus menu. Here. I'm also going to bring up a key item here to prevent this person from not letting me enter the cycling road here. Because you're supposed to have a Baitia here, and obviously we don't. But we're going to disregard her and go on cycling road anyway. So just go through cycling road, no problems there. And I'm going to do another stack here once I get out of this gate. Also, I like this dialogue here. You need a bike to go out on cycling road, but we're already on one, man. Anyway, I'm going to do a menu stack here. This just lets me avoid some dialogue with the companion character, Lucas. You might have heard some clicking there. That's me shifting the gears on the bike. You can shift the gears on the bike here by just pressing the B button. But because I'm pressing the B button to cancel out of these menus, I'm just constantly shifting gears on the bike. So it sounds kind of funny. So I'm going to do another menu stack here. This avoids some dialogue with Cyrus, who is the main villain of the game. Got to the end of the cave, so I'll unfreeze the world there. I'm going to do another one once I enter this route. Doing all of these menu stacks might seem kind of cumbersome, and they kind of are. But they're very much so necessary. Because since we're so low level at this point, all these trainers would destroy us if we tried to fight them. So we have to do these menu stacks to freeze the world in order to get past them. Which definitely makes things a little complicated when you're first learning this game, but you get used to it after a bit. I'm gonna cancel out the Explorer Kit there to unfreeze the world, and I'm holding this key item up here. I'm gonna use it to cancel out of this cutscene. There's a cutscene there where a trainer's binary sees you as you enter the city, but I just canceled out of that by using a key item. And I canceled out of it at the right time so that this exclamation mark is stuck above my head. And get used to that, because that's going to be there until the next time I save and reload, which isn't going to be for a while. So I'm going to talk to Fantina here. She's the gym leader in this city. She's normally the 5th that you fight, and we will fight her, but we'll get to that when we get to that. I'm going into the contest hall here, partially to progress the plot so that Fantina goes back to her gym, so we can fight her later, and also to get some more stickers from our mom, so we can do a skip in a second with the sticker function. Because you saw earlier I used the ball capsules to gain height when I'm going, or clipping through the floor and stuff like that, but here I'm going to use it to skip a fight. I'm definitely going to save before it, because if I do it wrong, there's a chance I could soft lock in the cutscene before this fight. So I'll just do a quick safety save there. Alright, so I'm going to go into the menu and set up a storage. Just one stack is fine for this. I'm going to back all the way out until I can see in the overworld and enter the ball capsule menu. I'm going to enter the preview. There we go, the fight's over. Oh, oops. There we go. Thought I was going to crash there, but we're fine. So by entering in the ball capsule as a fight starts, if you exit out of the preview, the game assumes that you won the battle. So we're going to do that for the rest of the fights in this run, so we don't have to worry about fighting anything. And save there, just in case I mess this part up. And then I'm going to set up another menu stack here. This is a very convoluted stack, so I'll explain what it does once I'm done. Fumbled with it a little bit right there, but I still got it. So the first part of the stack freezes the world. By the way, there's about 6 layers to that menu, just about, so it's very complicated, but I got it set up. By doing this, first it freezes the world, and then I'm going to do that trick involving the Explorer Kit to essentially do the same thing I was doing with Vegetate earlier. I'm going to go up here and enter the Explorer Kit from the menu. I'm going to play it alone. I need to be very delicate with my inputs here, because if I accidentally do an analog stick press on the left stick or D-pad, it will activate this key item when I don't mean to. Alright, so I canceled out of the animation where I hop out of the ground after exiting the underground, and that lets me levitate in the air. So I can go over some Psyducks there that are normally guarding these routes. I'm going to unfreeze the world there so I can go back to the ground and set up another menu stack. Oh boy. We got green fog, or red fog. This is going to be interesting. Alright, so I'm going to set up a stack here. This lets me avoid encounters as usual. But the tricky thing with this one is that as you can see, there's a bunch of fog here. You're normally meant to get a TM named Defog to get rid of this fog, but doing that would be way too slow. So we just navigate through the fog instead. Oh my gosh, where the heck am I? And the tricky thing with the fog is that it's basically impossible to see. And especially in this case, I got yellow fog, which makes it even harder to see. But I managed. So now I got to the end of the route. And I'm going here because in Celestic Town there's a trigger I need to hit, which is examining a mural in a cave for Fantina to activate. So I'm gonna go over to the cave by doing another Explorer Kit storage, as I guess I'll call it. So I'm gonna go alone, so I go into the play alone. So I go into the underground. I'm going to exit out. And it interrupts the hop out of the ground animation. There we go. So I'm going to go behind this grunt here that you normally have to fight to get into the cave. Activate his dialogue once here without fighting him, just so I can enter the cave a bit easier. And there we go, we're right in. You also might notice a bit of an oddity with the music right now. Because of that sticker skip, as I'll call it, that I did on Rival 2 earlier, the music is still playing from his fight, and it will not go away until just a second when I save and reload. Or, not save and reload, but do a death warp. So yeah, I've looked at the mural in the cave there. I'm gonna go outside and have some dialogue with Cyrus. And that'll trigger Fantina, so I can fight her in a second. Character is very alarmed, yeah. He's perpetually scared, which, you know, fair, considering there's an evil team running things around here. So I'm gonna talk to this guy in order to death warp. A bit earlier on, I don't think I forgot to take the center, but a bit earlier on, when I was in Eterna City, I took or not Eterna City, Hearthome City, yeah. I took a Pokemon Center, because I want to death warp back to Hearthome City in order to go to Fantina's gym, so I can fight her. Because for a skip I'll be doing later on, there's the death by the way, in order to do a skip later on, I'm going to need access to Surf, and beating Fantina will give us access to Surf. So there we go, I've just death warped by intentionally dying to that grunt. And that'll bring me back to Hearthome City, so I don't have to run all the way back here. I technically could go all the way back here if I really wanted to with menu storage and all that, but it would be extremely slow. So we just do that death warp instead. And just to reiterate, by the way, that exclamation mark will not go away until I save and reload the game again, which is not going to be for about another 7 minutes or so. So it's going to be a bit, so enjoy it while you can. We're going to do a puzzle here. We have to go through specific doors here. And the intention is you're supposed to look at these signs. These signs tell you a math equation. And you have to go into the door that matches the answer to the math equation. But the doors are the same in the same sequence every time. It's right, middle, left, right. So we just go in that sequence every time and solve the puzzle consistently. So we've done all the doors. And now we'll fight Fantina. I'm gonna save again, just in case I mess this menu up. So I'm gonna do one layer storage here, similar to the rival skip I did before. I'm gonna go into the ball capsules and the sticker menu as well. I'm gonna bring up the preview and back out of it. There we go, fight's over. Good job, Speed Souls. Doing us proud. So now we got Fantina's gem, or Fantina's badge. That'll allow us to use Surf for a skip later. And because we did the sticker skip on this fight, we're just gonna hear the third fight music for the next few minutes. Take that, Driftlim, exactly. For the remainder of the trainers in this run, we basically bribed them with stickers. That's the long and short of it. We just bribed them with fancy paper, pretty much. See, exactly, it was all planned. So now, we have to go do a skip to go straight to Victory Road. But the place that we do that is in Sunny Shore City, and it takes quite a long time to get there. So we're gonna have to do some pretty involved series of menu stacks in order to get there. Thankfully, they're not as hard as the levitate thing I was doing earlier when I was on Route 209, but they're still pretty involved. There's quite a few layers to these menus. Oops, don't need to do that. Alright, so we'll go into the Pokemon menu and the summary. Do 2 layers of storage. Main menu, and then bring up a key item. This will let me freeze encounters up until Vilestone City, which is part of our journey, a very long journey in fact, to get to Sunny Shore. Thankfully we get a bit of a break from the music as well, because when you're in a menu, the music lowers in volume, so it essentially mutes it, which is nice. We get a little bit of peace of mind, at the very least. Just gonna navigate through, I believe, Route 215 here. It's either Route 212 or 215. There's also 2 trainers right there. Those are the jogger that are on this route. Normally there's only one, but a side effect of doing the as a side effect of doing the menu storage glitch, it duplicates the joggers. So there's 2 joggers right there, and there's 2 joggers right there as well. His clone decided to join the party. I'm going to open the Explorer kit from the bag. Cancel out of it to unfreeze the world so I can enter this gate. Alright. Now I go through this town, not going to bother with any story elements here, we're just going to go straight down. Going to take a little shortcut through that gap, saves a bit of time on movement there. Going to do another menu stack here once I enter Route 214. This will let me, I'll be carrying this all the way until Sunny Shore, so I can avoid encounters and trainers. And at the tail end of it, I'll do a dialogue cancel with a key item. Alright, so I just frozen the world there. Now we're going to take a long trek all the way over to Sunny Shore. So we have a bit of a long walk to get there. This route is kind of annoying for optimizing movement because the entryways are so tiny. Fun fact about this game, it's actually a one-to-one recreation of the map of this. What I meant to say. The map of this is a one-to-one recreation of the OG Diamond and Pearl, but they also added analog movement to this game. So, analog movement combined with the one-to-one map recreation means that you have to use this analog movement to get through one tile-wide gaps, which are just not very easy, as you might imagine. Cancel there to unfreeze the world, and then I'm gonna tilt the stick, make sure I don't accidentally activate the key item here. And as I enter Sunny Shore here, I'm gonna use the key item. That interrupts that dialogue with Flint right there. Sunny Shore will unfreeze us? True. We did unfreeze the world as we went into the city, so it makes sense. There is a grid, it just takes a second for the D-pad movement to snap you to it. It doesn't snap to the grid straight away. So I'm going to the lighthouse here because I need to use these binoculars for probably the craziest trick in this entire run. And save just in case anything goes wrong. Alright, so I'm going to just line myself up to make sure I'm aligned with the binoculars. I'm going to do one layer of storage and back out so I can see the overworld. Go into the regular menu. I'm going to go into a tab here that does not have items, so I don't accidentally activate the binoculars. Then I'm going to activate the save here while I'm in the binoculars. Then I'm going to reload. Because when you go into the binoculars there, as you kind of saw briefly, it shows you a view of the Pokemon League. Fun fact, actually, when you're in those binoculars, the game temporarily, I think, sets your location to the entrance of Victory Road. So if you save and reload while you're in the middle of using the binoculars, you can take advantage of the fact that it temporarily shifts your location to the entrance of Victory Road to basically wrong warp to the entrance of Victory Road. So we do a bit of a wrong warp right there. There we are. We're at the Pokemon League. I'm going to do a quick menu stack here so that I can use Bibarel in the Victory Road. So I'll do a storage there. And bring up the key item. So by interrupting that little ledge hop animation, I can surf on land. I'll be using that to move through the league here. Setting up a series of menus here so I can move through the league. Two main menus, and three main menus. I'm going to set up a key item here. Alright, so I've froze the world there so I don't get encounters. And now I have to be extremely delicate with my stick movements here as I move on this Bibarel. If I move the stick too much, I will hop off of Bibarel, which is very bad news. So I'm going to walk over here, because I need to lower my height with a ball capsule, which I'll be doing right here. So now I've lowered my... and it also resets the music, thing there. So now I'm going to do the same delicate movements on the stick as I navigate my way through Victory Road here. It doesn't look like much because we're just straightforward moving through Victory Road and walking over walls in the process. But since you have to be so delicate with your stick movements, it's the most tense part of the entire run. On top of all the other menu stacks I've been doing this whole run. You have to be very careful with your movement here, otherwise it's game over. It looks like I got it. I just need to move up a little bit here. I'm going to use the ball capsule to gain height again. And that's the end of Victory Road. Pretty big minefield with all the precise movement we have to do there, but we got through it. So I'm going to save here because this trick can crash the game if I do it wrong. I like to call this trick Flintstones mode, and you'll see why pretty soon. So I'm going to go into the menu here, activate it, or do a layer of storage there, then bring up the key item. I'm going to use Surf and use the Explorer Kit as I hop over the ledge onto Bibarel. I think I got it. Yep, there we go. So I've just activated Flintstones mode. By using an Explorer Kit as I was hopping onto Bibarel there, it lets me walk on the water there, so I can go straight through the waterfall and into the Pokemon League. You're supposed to use a move called Waterfall to get through that appropriately, to get up that waterfall, but obviously I avoided doing that. So similar to what I was doing with the Rival and Fantina earlier, I'm going to do a ball capsule skip here. The timing for entering the preview is pretty particular. Oh, yeah, I messed up there, so I'm just going to go ahead and reload. The timing for the ball capsule skip, it doesn't look like much, but it's actually pretty particular, because if you enter the menu at the wrong time, you'll soft lock in the cutscene before the rival fight. And it's a similar thing with the Elite Four members that you'll be seeing coming up. So yeah, I had to reload there because I accidentally backed out of the sticker menu, so I had to redo that. And yeah, the Bibarel being stuck on her feet there is a side effect of what I call the Flintstones mode. Because you interrupted the animation while you're hopping onto Bibarel, so Bibarel's just stuck to your feet. But because I reloaded there, he's not going to be there anymore. Should still work. Or not, I'll just crash. Okay. Crash number 2. This run is all kinds of shenanigans, but I'm still having fun with it. Are you having fun, chat? Hope you are, anyway. So there are some pretty good jams, yeah. The music in Gen 4 and the Sinnoh games in general are incredible. It's really good. Yeah. That's good to hear. Actually, no, I'm not having any fun at all. Apparently there's no fun allowed. Disregard what I just said. Alright, so third time's a charm. Hopefully we'll actually get it this time. Alright, so I activate the preview there as soon as my rival's last text box prints out. So that way I can get the sticker skip right there. I'm going to do a similar thing here with the 4 Elite Four members. Technically can do the sticker skip as well with Cynthia at the end of the game, but we have other ways of dealing with her, which you'll see when we get there. But we have to get through the Elite Four first. Save right here. I'm going to save before each of these Elite Four member skips, just in case something goes wrong in my soft lock on accident, like you just saw with the rival. So I'll do 1 layer of storage there. Go into the ball capsules. Bring up the sticker menu. I'm going to wait until the second first white flash goes away, and then go into the preview. And that should skip the fight. There we go. So that's how the rest of the fights are going to go for the Elite Four here. I'm going to use the sticker skip in order to skip these fights. And because we skipped the fights in the way that we did, the camera is just locked beneath the floor. So you're going to see some pretty up-close camera angles when we enter these rooms. Come on, it's the storage there twice, but got it right there. It's funny actually that this method of skipping trainers exists, because when this game was brand new and we were first starting to run this, way back when, back in November 2021, almost a year ago, holy moly, we had another way of skipping these fights, or a very similar way of skipping these fights. Instead of using the ball capsules, or the sticker menu in the ball capsules, we would instead use Pokedolls within the menu during the fight, and that would let us skip these fights like we're doing as well, but stickers are just a lot faster to set up and a lot more convenient. Because with the route that we take through the game and the glitch categories nowadays, we don't have easy access to getting Pokedolls early now, especially in true 90% where you barely play any of the game, so we have to do the ball capsule or sticker skips instead. As I was saying, each time we do these skips, it kind of messes up the camera, and as you're seeing, the camera is just zooming in closer and closer on the trainer. So do a ball capsule skip here on Lucian. The whole time while the Elite Four music is playing. Like I was saying, whenever you skip a fight, the music stays when after you skip the fight, so yeah, that's gonna be playing the whole time here. Okay. That's a new one. I've never seen that soft lock before. So apparently I went to the preview at the wrong time and we got stuck on a white screen there. That's interesting. You learn something new every day. What I was trying to do there, as the transition, like that white flash was happening that leads into the fight, I was holding down the plus button, which is the button you press to go into the preview in the sticker menu. But I guess I just pressed it at the wrong time there and accidentally got stuck in that white screen. That's okay, we can just reload real quick. Alright, let me actually time it right this time. Alright, that should be good. There we go, got it that time. Goodbye, Lucian. Alright, so we're going to do a similar thing with Cynthia, where we skip her fight with menuing shenanigans, but it's going to work a little differently. We're not going to do the ball capsule skip that we just did. We're going to do something different. So I'll set up a key item here. Do 2 layers of storage, and then set up another key item right here. I'm going to hold up here, making sure I don't activate the key item in the process. I'm going to use the key item as soon as I enter the room. This breaks me out of this cutscene with Cynthia. So you can't quite see it right now, but Cynthia's right next to me. And I'm supposed to fight her, but I broke out of the cutscene. There we go. So I just snuck on the elevator behind her instead of fighting her. And we can break out of this cutscene as well by just entering or using a key item as soon as the cutscene starts. And now we're in the Hall of Fame. So yeah, time is going to be pretty soon. It's going to be when the game fades to black after it goes through the Hall of Fame sequence here. So I'll let you know when that is. And the funny thing about the sticker skips is that this E4 music that you're hearing, it's gonna last up until we close the game. It lasts up until through the end credits and when you reload the game after going through the credits. So yeah, time is gonna be when the game fades to black here. There we go, time. Oh my gosh, that was a train wreck and a half, but we pulled through. We pulled through. Just out of curiosity, what was my time there?
6 hours? No, I'm kidding. I could not resist. You're about 1 hour 6.
Yeah, that's fine. I was expecting shenanigans like that to happen. For reference, my PB is around 45 minutes. I was expecting shenanigans like that to happen, because, like, I probably didn't do it too much justice with my commentary, because, like, there's so much going on, but as I said, there's a lot of things going on in this category. It's actually extremely tough. So, the fact that I managed to complete this run close to an hour at all was, like, good job to me, basically.
Yeah, no, well done, dude. It's a good,
Yeah.
great run.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to quickly plug before you go?
Yeah, actually in chat, I just saw Fury ST. He has made a tool for this game. Normally we run with music off, and for like just watching it, it's kind of awkward to watch. So Fury ST in chat has made a tool now where you can automatically play the music from the game while still having the music off. So you can still enjoy running the game while also going for a competitive time. So shoutouts to Fury ST for making that tool. I also want to shout out all of the welcoming community members in the Pokemon Switch Pokemon speedrunning Discord. All of them are pretty good people. And particular people I want to shout out within that are Corvame, Etiquette, Kizaron, Shenanigans, and a whole bunch of other people I'm probably forgetting, and some of those names in chat you might even recognize. But yeah, that's my main shoutouts there.
Thank you, and thank you for running this SCM. This is the first time you've been here, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, well, absolute pleasure to have you. But we will we'll leave this here, and we're going to move on to the next run, which is Mitri's, who is running Sekiro again. I think he's running Sekiro 3 times this marathon, but he's also doing the blindfolded run, which is going to be awesome later on. But yeah, from myself and from Nerd Square, I will see you soon, and I'm going to hand over the hosting to the wonderful Sam Without a Plan. So we'll see you guys soon.